EDU 70,008, and this is for assignment 2B. Now, you've all completed assignment 2A, and this is pretty much the same. There are a few wrinkles that are slightly different, so this is going to be quite a short recording. It's just sort of drawing your attention to what's different about this assignment to the previous assignment. So let's have a run through of what we need to look at. Okay, let's start here. What's the purpose of this folio? As with your previous portfolio submission, this portfolio assignment requires you to continue to produce a collection of information, resources and reflections that will help you develop your skills in teaching health and physical education. This assignment constitutes the second part of your portfolio, building on assignment 2A portfolio, as I said before. So by gathering information into a portfolio, you'll demonstrate an ability to identify, evaluate and transmit ideas about effective principles, policies and practices for developing health and PE within a primary school setting. So this assignment requires you to add a reflective dialogue and track your reasons for including specific evidence. Now, if you remember from assignment 2A, in the Collaborate, we talked quite considerable length really about reflective dialogue. I'm sure in assignment 2A, lots of you have done that. There will be some feedback. If there's some change you need to make there, that should be in your feedback that I've given you as well. Your portfolio should not just be a collection of resources, remember. It's important to have evidence of academic and reflective underpinning, without which you will not pass the assignment. This assignment supports unit learning outcomes 2, 3 and 4. So, number 2, analyse pedagogical approaches in teaching and learning of health and PE education in the primary classroom. So that's something, again, you did in 2A and something you need to do in this assignment. You need to, for you to not only state which pedagogical approaches you're going to use, but also justify why, and that's the analysis element. You also, number 3, generate plans of lessons, units of work that reflect relevant current curriculum documentation and contemporary pedagogical approaches, including the use of ICT. So again, that pedagogical approaches element, but also in terms of a lesson work, I think it's item 3 this time, or item 6 if you like, of the whole two assignments together, is a lesson plan in itself. Number 4, analyse a range of assessment strategies and record keeping instruments within health and PE in terms of the purpose, benefits, limitation and implementation constraints. So once again, with assessment strategies and record keeping, it's important not just to state what you're going to do, but why. What are the benefits, limitations of doing so? So in this time we have 3 items, just like for assignment 2A. The first item is for the topic of well-being and mental health. In this case, it's an outline for a resource that would be suitable for early primary students. Early primary. This resource must incorporate ability inclusion concerns. So you need to be thinking about how you include that element in your description. It's quite, that needs to be one of your focus discussion areas. We'll come to it a little bit later, but the definition resource for this assignment is slightly different to last. Item number 2. Now we're looking at informed choices and specifically alcohol and drugs. An outline of an activity for middle primary students that requires cooperation and problem-solving skills. So it's not a resource, it's an activity. And see the difference there. So you make sure you are very, very aware of what we're actually doing here. So the first item is a resource. The second item is an activity. And this time it's aimed at middle primary students. Item number 3, the final one, relationships and sexual health. This time it's an outline for a lesson for upper primary students. This lesson must incorporate both ICT and ability and inclusion concerns as well. Okay, so draw your attention, it's a lesson, so it's not an activity or a resource, it's an actual lesson, and it must include some ICT, and you need to discuss your ability inclusion concerns as well. So probably the best way we can really look at this properly is to have a look at the template. So here's an annotated element, and this is on the Padlet exactly as you see it here. Let's just run through it. So an example of the evidence, you describe the resource. And as I say here, the definition of the resource is much wider for this assignment. It includes online, offline, images, books, activities, incursions, excursions, and lesson plans. The whole sort of range, and obviously slightly differences for each of the three items. Excuse me. So you've got much more choice there. So point one, a brief description of the resource. To describe the key features and focus your curriculum. Focus on curriculum links of health and PE. Item 2 or section 2. This is where your explanation of how it would be used in health and PE, providing evidence of knowledge and understanding of pedagogy tools, methods and resources. So here you explain your pedagogical choices. So how are you going to use the resource or the activity, etc. How exactly will you use those? Justify your choice by linking to academic literature. So again, it's important not just to say I am going to do this, but you must justify that choice and link it to academic sources. Don't just list options here. I often say, well, you could do this and you could do that and you can do something else. That's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking for a specific outline of what you would choose. Yes, you've got options. We all appreciate that. What options are you going to choose and why? So for theme 3, outline your lesson here. Remember, you've got the three different. You got the resource. You've got the activity, and the last one is a lesson plan. For theme 3, outline your lesson. Dot points are fine. If you use an existing lesson plan off the internet, then I would expect you to not just simply reproduce it. That's plagiarism. I expect you to adapt it, and so don't just copy it and say, there you go. Include your discussion of ability inclusion in section 2. All right, that's the place to put that. Number 3, analysis of technology aspects of the resource, which focus on student engagement and how it relates to the curriculum. Now, for this one, that's only necessary for item 3. So link to the academic literature, which discusses the use of ICTs, and apply it to your lesson plan. Now you'll appreciate, because you're not doing that section for item 1 and 2 in this assignment, that actually gives you a few more words to play with as well. So that's a plus there. Number 4, don't just list options again. Assessment, strategies and record keeping. Explain exactly how you will assess your students and justify your choice by linking to academic literature. So again, I don't want a list of options, things you could use as assessment strategies. I want to be very specific and for you to state what you have chosen, what you selected in order to use as an assessment strategy in record keeping, and why you've done so. And then finally, your analysis of the benefits and limitations. Try to focus your discussion on your specific resource, your activity or your lesson plan, rather than a general discussion of the theme or the topic. So this is a mistake some people sometimes make. They tend to talk generally about, for example, the importance of well-being and mental health lessons. I want you to be talking about in that case, your resource that's associated with that, rather than just talk about the benefits and limitations of teaching children about alcohol and drugs. Great. I want you to actually talk about the activity you're using. That's your focus, remember, is the actual item that you're describing. So that's really it for this Flick Collaborate. It gives you, hopefully, it's given you an idea of the things that I need you to be thinking about. We'll be holding our live Collaborate session next week, so I look forward to seeing you there. In the meantime, have a great weekend.